I feel like we've been in this position before, perhaps not this beautiful, lavish place before, but I asked you last year, Gamescom, just to confirm that Xbox 360 version of Witcher 2's come out. We've seen it running today, we've got hands-on with it. So during the presentation, you stated this was a, let me just get this right, hardcore, pure-blooded RPG. Is that the correct phrase you used? Kind of thing like that. For those viewers at home that may not have had a chance to play the PC version, can you just give us a quick sort of overview of what you mean by that for Witcher 2?
Okay, so we believe we're creating a true RPG, and what we mean by that is that there's a proper character development system, there's crafting, the inventory is pretty important, there's a tactical and spectacular combat system, which fits all the RPG elements perfectly, and after all, that's the most important thing, is that we have this true RPG plot and all the places where you have to make different choices and face the consequences. So it's mostly about the storyline, and that's why we believe it's a hardcore and true RPG. It's very accessible for everyone, although, but still it should bring you to your memories, like from playing all the fancy old RPGs, which were really cool.
Now, I've asked you guys over the years repeatedly about why perhaps you weren't doing the 360 version alongside the PC version, but as far as more, you guys just wanted to get the PC version perfect and then carry on to the Xbox 360 version. Now, as we saw during the presentation, you talked quite a lot about overhaul, control system overhaul, targeting system. Were those the real challenges you had when you set out to create the Xbox 360 version of The Witcher 2?
I think the biggest challenge was to actually move all of the content from the PC version to the Xbox 360, as we wanted to make no compromises. Our target was to have all of the elements of the game and the new platform, and because it's a really intense, big game with a quite huge world, a lot of characters, a lot of textures and meshes, it was quite challenging to be able to render it, launch it on Xbox 360, which is not as powerful as nowadays PCs. But we managed to do it. It took a lot of optimizing stuff, rebuilding, streaming, occluding, and things like that. But we learned a lot. We got a lot of new experience, and we were really happy with the results.
Well, I was going to say that. I mean, certainly there's a lot for the first time Witcher 2 player, which I've said to these guys, unfortunately I am. There's a lot to take. It's very overwhelming at the start because the amount of systems that you have to sort of incorporate, but it works really nicely and very succinctly with the joypad, obviously enough with the bumper buttons, allowing you using the quick menu. Did you guys have that idea at the start when you're trying to adapt Witcher 2 to a control pad system?
Yeah, actually we were creating The Witcher 2 since the very beginning in a way that it will allow you to play the game with an Xbox controller. You could already play the Xbox controller using the Xbox controller on your PC, so that was a great thing, I believe. But after having some experiences with it and checking out all the Xbox games and trying to feel like an Xbox player, native Xbox player, we decided to improve some of the things, remap some of the keys, change the camera movement system, targeting system to make the game really console native game, and I think we actually achieved it.
Now, other people would take the easy route and just do a port of the original game. We're going for an adaptation here, an extended and enhanced adaptation, and you threw out some very impressive figures during the presentation. So 2 brand new main quests, 4 hours, did you say, of extra gameplay added in there as well. What was the thought behind that? Had you guys finished Witcher 2 for the PC and there's a lot of stuff left over that you would really have liked to have seen added into it? And also, you said that this content, especially the two main quests, appear at Act 3 of the game. Again, why Act 3? Was there any specific significance with putting it in at the end of the game rather than fitting it in somewhere closer to the start?
Okay, so first of all, the things you see in a new quest aren't the leftovers. Definitely, those are totally new ideas, actually better than some of the ones we have in the core game, and it's mostly because we already know the technology. We made the core game, and we had a lot of experience with The Witcher 2, so we knew actually this time how to create some great adventures on our new engine. Second of all, why Act 3? Okay, because it's not at the very beginning of the game, so it's going to be a great reason for many players just to replay the game to see the new content. And then some players complain that Act 3 is not as long as it could be. They don't feel like they're accomplishing something big, and that's the end of the game. So we decided to extend it. That's one of the ways we did, actually, how we extended it. So we added those extra adventures, but on the other hand, we added plenty of new cinematics, ending movies, and stuff like that, just to give you a great feeling, of an accomplishment, something that you actually did while playing the game.
Talking about feedback, I mean, you've been very vocal about hearing back from players what their experience are, from players and from journalists about what their experience is, what works, and perhaps what might be tweaked here and there. How did that situation arise? Was that a case of people were coming back to you with perhaps things that you agreed on, maybe you guys thought at the end of development you could have fixed here and there, or were there things that perhaps surprised you at what players had said, perhaps they didn't like?
That was totally different. It depends on the players, of course, because a lot of feedback was very positive from the journalists and from the players. But on the other hand, both of those groups had different ideas how the game can be actually improved. Right? They told us that it's too difficult in some places, like the very beginning of the game before we created a tutorial. Actually, tutorial is a perfect example of how we're trying to listen to our communities and to journalists, because the game was too difficult at the beginning, people did not master all of the elements. We created a tutorial as a response to that, and so yeah, some of the feedback is really creative, and even if it's not directly creative, even if people don't know really what they want to say, I think after reading a lot of emails and reviews, you actually, and you know the game by heart, and you actually really feel what people want to say, even if they can't name it. So I think it's always creative in some way.
Well, I guess that sort of ends us with the sort of salesman question. Obviously enough, PC players will get the update and be able to try out the new content, which is absolutely fantastic. But for the people that have played Witcher 2 before, why should they pick up Witcher 2 on the Xbox 360?
Okay, that's a tricky one, because first of all, our main target was to deliver them the exact same experience as the PC players, right? So you can't expect you see things you did not see on a PC. As I said, we're delivering the exact same things into both platforms. But on the other hand, if you did not, you couldn't see the new adventures yet, so that's a great reason to actually replay the game, maybe choose a different path if you play the game only once, so you have a chance to see totally different Act 2. And why choose Xbox? Because I think it will be anyway a little bit different experience. You'll be probably lying on your couch somewhere, and it feels different just to hold this kind of gamepad and not to play in front of your monitor, but on a big TV. And it depends what kind of player you are, but I'm sure you enjoy The Witcher on both platforms.
That's excellent. Listen, thank you very much indeed for your time. All the best with it.
Thank you.
Cheers.